Hello, welcome to Sound and Fairy Book Reviews. As usual, I'm Tina. Today I'm doing a book review of Cross of Empire by Christopher Lampton. This is a laser book. Laser book is the best. Laser books are the best. From 1976. It is a classic sci-fi. I got this book from a used bookstore. As usual with these, this is the first one of 2025. I didn't get to do one in January. It's so sad. I'll start with a short spoiler-free review, a spoiler-filled synopsis of the plot, and my classic sci-fi bingo at the end. So here we go. But first of all, what's it about? Derek Sullivan didn't set out to be a hero. He just wanted to enjoy festival time in Ilium like any other tourist. Then his suitcase is stolen and suddenly Derek Sullivan becomes a wanted man. Pursued by the Terrans as a traitor, everyone believes he's a Hurakan spy, even the treacherous Huraka themselves. They rescue him from the Terran law enforcers, but his ordeal is not over, because it is only a matter of time before they discover their mistake, and then Derek's problems really begin. Yeah. This book is a little slow. There really isn't much to it, so this review is going to be very short. We have a young man in over his head, and most of what happens is him being told things and reacting to this. The side characters range from boring to over the top, and while aliens would seem to be at the core of the story, we barely see them. In truth, this book was rather dull and entirely forgettable. When I go to do my year-end wrap-up in December, I'm going to be like, what the heck was this book? Like, that's exactly what's going to happen, because literally I'm having trouble now even like remembering what happened. The world building isn't bad, and the one world where most of the story takes place has some interesting features, but overall this book does not have a lot going for it. Okay, so I'm moving on because literally I have nothing else to say about this book. Nothing else at all. I'm moving on to my spoiler-filled synopsis. This is mainly so if you don't plan on reading this book, you can enjoy the classic sci-fi bingo. So, the first chapter is of a semi-retired ambassador heading out into the planet of Lilani, chasing a strange shape. He ends up getting murdered by a Huraka alien, which are these werewolf dudes from the front cover. This guy. Then we get into the main plot, which is Derek Sullivan, a farmer turned scholar who was on a way planet en route to university. He gets his suitcase stolen the second he arrives, and when he chases down the thief, he ends up taking the wrong suitcase because apparently the thief steals lots of suitcases, and all these suitcases look the same. He goes to a hotel where he meets a receptionist, Cindy, and then he goes to his room and he realizes that's when he realizes he has the wrong suitcase. So it starts letting off these strange beeping noises, which leads him to being chased by the cops as well, like because they think he's a spy for the Huraka. As the Terrans and the Huraka are at war, I forgot to mention that. He somehow kills 3 cops, even though he's just like this 19-year-old boy, and he escapes with the receptionist. For some reason, she decides to go along with him. We don't know why. I don't know. They are knocked out by a man who's actually a spy for the Huraka, who thinks Derek is a fellow spy. He takes them on a spaceship to Lilani. Like, they're on the spaceship for months, where there is a secret base there. The Lilani planet is, I guess, a Terran planet, even though there are aliens there, but I guess the Terrans, it's like their planet. But the Huraka have this secret base there. Cindy, they think, is an informant, so she's basically locked up the entire time. As this is the case, Derek eventually finds a way to escape, and he walks 100 kilometers through the desert in a suit to this Terran base, where he tells them there is a secret Huraka base. They send him back to the Huraka base with a bomb to blow it up, which he sets up to go off after he rescues Cindy, but then he has a moment of, morality, of ethics, and he decides it's not cool to kill all the people in the base, so he warns them of the bomb so they can escape. In the end, he rejects a medal from the government, and he marries Cindy. It's dumb. It's very dumb. Yeah, it's very boring. I'm just gonna move into my classic sci-fi bingo now. Outdated science. Basically there's mainly just printed out documents, like both in general on a spaceship. You're in space. You need some information. You're going to get a printer. You're going to print out a bunch of paper. That doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, that's what happens in this book. Spaceship blows up. Nope, no spaceships blow up. There's no social changes. There's no sexy female scientists. Cool aliens? No, actually, because we don't learn much about them at all. Either the Lilians or the Huraka. They're basically just Vulcans and angry Wookiees. And they're very, very, there's nothing of interest about any of them. Like, they're so bland. Ancient tech and ruins. Yes, there are ancient tech and ruins, though we never really learn what the heck they are for. So that wasn't interesting. I'll read you about them because I might as well do something here. He stared at the ragged assortment of stones that lined the crest of a long sloping hill where the movement had been seen, but saw nothing. The rocks, he had been told, were the remains of an ancient Lilian city, a relic of that remote time when the surface of the planet had been fertile and inhabitable. Could something be lurking in the ruins? Yeah, we never literally learned anything about the ruins. I'm like, why not? Ruins are cool. Generation ship? No. Space soldiers? Yes, because most of the other people in the book are soldiers, I guess. AI robots? Yeah, there are robot waiters. That's about the extent we get for robots. New World, yes. Lilia, however you say it. So they spend a lot of time on this planet. It's basically like a desert planet that is no longer inhabitable. You have to wear a suit when you walk around on it. It reminded me of the planet from the Fenris device, a much better book. Cyberpunk, no. Blatant sexism, oh my god, yes. Cindy is damseled quite heavily, and there is this wonderful line on the last page about her. Okay, so apparently Cindy's laughing with Derek about something, and then she says how she always would have liked him anyway. I'm like, how? You met him for 5 seconds. But anyway, he says, you weren't my only reward. Yeah, so he even calls out her as being a reward for him. Like, it's the example of having a woman in a novel simply to give the man a reward at the end. She has absolutely no character development. She's very reductive. There's also no women in the military in this book. In fact, Cindy is the only woman character mentioned ever and appears on the page for maybe, I'd say, a good 3% of the novel. So, yeah. Reptile aliens, no. There's no queer characters. There's no portals. There is microfiche. Like, yay, something that I love. The male MC is a dick. No, actually, Derek is a nice kid. He's probably the only reason why I kind of put up with the novel, because, like, I didn't hate him. Post-apocalyptic, yes. Both Liliana and Earth are destroyed planets. Earth was destroyed by an accidental nuclear catastrophe. Accidental? Not sure how that works, but okay. Wild weapons, yeah, there is some, like, they're just laser guns, so, like, the typical kind that the typical kind of stereotypical classic sci-fi laser guns, they're not exciting. Racial equality, I'm gonna say no, as it's not mentioned that anyone is a person of color, so I'm assuming it's one of these just, like, assuming everyone's white books. There's no mind possession. There is galactic war. There's actually a good focus of the book is on the war between the Haraka and Earth. Focus meaning there's, like, a bunch of backstory about it told in an info dump, but we are told that they are at war, and they are still at war. Tech from today, no, there's like surprisingly, like, nothing really happens in this book, and there's surprisingly not a lot of stuff in this book. There's really just, like, I don't know, it I can't with this book. It's so boring. And it does not pass the Bechdel test, and it has no alien human romance. It has no female main character, and has no derelict ship. So really, this book really does nothing for me. The only good thing about it is that the cover is fantastic. There's no dragons in this book either. And who is that blue guy? I don't know. Also, why does the main character, I'm assuming that's supposed to be, I can't zoom in here, but I'm assuming that this guy is supposed to be the main character, this guy that looks like Admiral Tarkin, but he's clearly not, like, 19. He's like a 45-year-old man. Anyway, this has been a very rambling review because I am on a lot of anti-congestants. Because I mentioned this, I think, last week. I was getting a cold, and I finally have the cold, and it's at least, you know what, at least it's not like a headache, it's not a throat ache, it's just I'm just, like, super congested. Tis the season. So I'm going to be reading hopefully a way more interesting classic sci-fi book next. I don't know which. I will decide that later, but I'm gonna try to find one that has a lot more content to talk about. So overall, I do not recommend Across the Vampire, but I hope you found this kind of unenthusiastic review entertaining at some point. Thank you.